You're listening to Shack Together, your favorite Shacknews podcast. And if we're lucky, your favorite podcast. Bill Lavoy is here today to talk about Destiny 2, The Final Shape. It's been quite a week for Destiny 2 fans, ups and downs, but overall a lot to love, according to Bill. Seems like a great release. We dive in with him. We then play a Destiny 2 themed podcast game, wherein I try to stump Asif and Bill and see if they can tell the difference between a fake Destiny 2 weapon and a real one. D2 Sieves. Please enjoy. Story time comes right after that with quite a few previews, a Dragon Age 4 rename, Elon Musk news, Like a Dragon on Prime Video, Shovel Knight Direct, courtesy Yacht Club Games, and Roaring Kitty is back to talk GME. Lots and lots to go over on today's show, so thanks for tuning in and enjoy. Here we go. We are going to have a good sounding show this week. I will make it happen.
Okay.
Can that be our cold open? Did anybody hear the lawnmower last week?
You know what's weird, Joe, is that I heard the lawnmower when you uploaded it, but during our conversation last week, I didn't hear the lawnmower at all. So, and I don't know if you remember, but like Donovan had like an air conditioner behind him. So I heard more of Donovan's air conditioner than I heard your lawnmower. But then when you exported, I heard your lawnmower more than Donovan's air. I was very confused. That's all I know. All I know is that my audio was the best last week out of all three of us. You
were audio king, indisputable audio king last week.
Which is just surprising because sometimes my audio sucks. Because, you know, I have a lot of just like ambient noise around me, like, you know, lawnmowers, sure, but there's like air conditioning, there's my neighbor's like my neighbor's driveway is like kind of close to where I record this, so like they have like every kind of muscle car known to mankind over there. So what, like, it's really fun at like 2 a.m. when they get home and they're like revving their whatever the hell.
Do you live next to a chop shop?
No, I just live next to this house that has like, I don't know. I think it's kind of like my situation where like I grew up in this house and then I moved back into it. I think it's the same thing over there where like the kids moved back into the house and their parents aren't even there. So it's just like, you know, single dude doing his thing.
Makes me think of the things that we do for good audio, because I am cooking in my office right now with a door closed on my left so you don't hear my cat, and the window closed on the right so you don't hear the lawnmower.
Joe, you remember the old office in New Jersey, right?
Who could forget it?
You remember that stream studio that they had originally in the back?
Yeah. Do you also mean the room that was deemed the sauna?
Yeah, dude. I remember going in there, and it was the first stream I ever did for Shacknews, and it was Star Fox 64, and I was there with Andrew, and I'm just melting. I'm like, dude, what is going on in here?
Mm-hmm.
And it was at least 20 degrees warmer than the rest of the office in there. Yeah. And there was like, couldn't open the window. There were no fans allowed. And there was like lights. Oh God.
Yeah. We're in a different world now. Well, a couple things. Now there's all this like GPU powered noise reduction that can happen live. So like streamers use all that stuff. And you know, that is why on our Discord chat, like in the moment last week, you didn't hear any of that because Discord runs all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I have, because of last week, I have invested in some software. I had some very old noise reduction software, but I have since upgraded it. I was in a manic state last Friday night. I'm like, man, come on. I'm a professional. I can't be putting out lawnmower podcasts. I was very frustrated. So I've updated everything. I've got a lot of improvements that maybe will not be noticeable to the end user, but maybe that's the point. It's gonna sound nice.
Yeah. So are you breaking up with Craig, or are we going to keep Craig around?
No, Craig is a great utility to make sure that we're all in sync. That's the major purpose of Craig, where, you know, he just lines up everyone for me at the end of the show.
Craig's the reason why we don't have to do the 1, 2, 3 clap at the beginning.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I appreciate you, Craig. You're like the one robot that's good in this world.
You are a good robot. A Patreon payment I make with no regrets. That's how you pay Craig for some reason.
Oh, okay. Why are robots on Patreon?
They figured it out. They cracked the code.
Can't wait for like GPT to spin up a GoFundMe for itself.
Oh, GPT's going straight to OnlyFans. Don't even get it wrong.
God. Only $5 for these pictures that I generated of what I think my feet would look like.
We should stop talking about this before somebody gets an idea.
It's already happened. We put it out there.
Somebody or something, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah. Craig's going to just get in the group chat with all the other bots and be like, hey, this is what they are saying on Shack Together today. And then, yeah, a few weeks from now, we're going to see GPT OF. I guess that's a good start to the show.
That's good. Let's do it.
You're listening to Shack Together, a Shacknews video game podcast where if you've achieved your final shape, you're Destiny 2. I'm your host, Asif Khan, and I'm not joined by my co-host, John Benyamine today. He's out there on assignment in the metaverse. I am joined by our producer, Joe Stasio.
Hello.
And managing editor, Bill Lavoy.
Hey.
Hey, Bill. So, Bill, you know the deal. This isn't your first time in the Shack News Extended Podcast universe, or the CPU, as the kids are calling it. They're still calling it that, right, Joe?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
But, Bill, like, you know what we're going to ask you here. What have you been playing lately?
What have I been playing? I have been playing 3 games. 3 games. 2 of them were released in 2014. One of them, I don't know, 2022. Yeah, that was kind of where I was going with that.
Were you going to give more hints or no?
No, I mean, given why I'm here, I feel like you've got a pretty good lead.
I know one of them. I think I know 2 of them.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Is one of them DayZ?
One of them is DayZ.
Yeah, I knew that was celebrating its 10th anniversary because that's why TJ went to the Czech Republic and all that stuff.
That's true,
okay.
Yeah.
And then, 2014.
Okay.
Now, technically, I guess the other one didn't come out in 2014, but
It came out in 2017.
Well, the universe, the collection,
right.
yeah.
It's been given away. You've given it away. Okay.
I know. I
too.
kind of.
I thought you meant you went back to vanilla D1.
Well, I was hoping someone would mess up and choose like Fallout 4 because I play that a lot, and it came out in 2015. But no, nobody messed it up.
Right.
Destiny 1 is the game that I accidentally beat with you.
You did.
I accidentally won that game. Although, to me, winning in Destiny, the win condition, Joe, was getting the purple ball on top of the post office and then triggering the fan so that the ball would fly into the air.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's everyone's win condition.
I don't know. There was some other thing that I did with Bill.
Oh, yeah, we stormed the Black Garden and defeated something, yeah.
Like, I barely remember it happening, but
Which is
I
how
won.
you actually beat Destiny 1, but yeah, to be...
Yeah, but don't the credits roll with the ball thing and the vent?
They should. I don't remember a lot about Destiny 1, to be honest. It was many moons ago.
I enjoyed that game quite a bit.
You know, in the final shape, you actually do fight in the old tower, and you do... Well, you could, theoretically... jump on top of the post office and throw down from up there.
So the second game is Destiny 2. What's the third game?
I've been playing Way of the Hunter as my my outdoorsy, get away from all the things that I have to play game.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, Destiny 2, man. The final shape is here.
It is here. It's very shapely.
Is this final shape a triangle?
I don't think so. It's more the concept of the final shape is that humanity is nothing but suffering so the witness believes that humanity is essentially just pointless and that life is just full of despair and suffering and chaos, and he's essentially trying to perfect things with the final shape. So he basically like freezes everything and crystallizes it, so you just become like a statue. So I, to be completely honest, haven't read the lore behind it as extensively, so I'm sure like some of the lore geniuses of Destiny 2 would have a much better explanation, but He thinks we suck, and he's going to make statues out of us as like the low level.
So
what's happening here?
Final shape of the statue, is that like a rhombus or a rectangle? What are we talking about here?
No, it's in
parallelogram?
The opening gameplay, or sorry, in the opening cinematic for the campaign. They show people like walking through the streets and they literally just freeze in place, right?
Oh.
Like even like an apple that a kid has is like, and everything's like a little distorted. So like the apple kind of gets sliced in like 3 pieces, but it's still whole, but it's kind of a little bit.
So the final shape is like whatever you were frozen in. So if I was on the toilet when the witness arrived, it would just be me on the toilet as my final shape.
Correct.
Yes, suffering
Right.
is the part to it. You were suffering.
It would be ending your suffering.
Sometimes you suffer it on the toilet. Sometimes it's not suffering. Maybe it's euphoric.
But it's always chaos. And the witness doesn't like chaos.
That's true.
Okay,
But yeah, it's,
Bill, because I've been editing a lot of this stuff and I've been uploading a lot of this stuff to YouTube, right? So my algorithm on YouTube thinks I like Destiny 2.
Of course.
So I was served this YouTube short last night that I thought was kind of interesting. They broke down the height of the witness over time, and it appears that the witness is getting larger over time. Can you confirm or deny that, or have you noticed that at all?
I cannot confirm or deny it.
It was this very weird short video where they did a bunch of pixel analysis of like them versus this or them versus this over time, and they're like made this case that it's like 200 feet tall or something.
My understanding of the witness is that it's not one person or thing. It's more of a civilization that essentially just got to a point where it was like enough, and I think it's like a lot of beings that sort of merged into like one.
It's the singularity.
Powerful, yeah, something like that. And it's so it's not one dude, which is kind of interesting that it would be a group of people who's like the Traveler, right?
Yeah,
the Traveler is like the god for Destiny 2 of like most
it's like the Halo
civilizations. Yeah, so the witness is essentially the it hates the Traveler because it at one point needed something from the Traveler, I believe, and the Traveler didn't provide, and then it became very jaded, and the Traveler gives life to everything, but the witness views life as chaos. And
there's a scene with the Traveler and the witness together, and it was one of the scenes used in that How Tall Is the Witness video I saw.
The witness is huge. Now that I think about it.
So's the Traveler.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that if you're looking at the witness, like...
relative to the Traveler, this is like almost half a planet size. Yeah, it's very interesting, because if you do look at it over time, it does seem to look like the witness is getting bigger. And like you said, it's like a collective consciousness sort of thing. Interesting.
Yeah. I believe it's like a collective consciousness. There's certain parts of the Destiny 2 story where I'm very good at following things, and then there's certain parts where my opinion on the witness the entire time is like, this dude's an idiot and I'm gonna kill him, and that's kind of like my getting on and off point for what he's about. So yeah, I mean, from that perspective, like the final shape to me is interesting. It's a big threat, but it's not like the most interesting I think the lore has ever been for me personally. So I just I haven't invested in it as heavily as like, if you remember back, like in just before Destiny 2 came out, like the Taken King, where you had Oryx and like the Hive and Sword Logic, and like I was reading like lore books and things like that at that point. Like that stuff was very interesting to me, but I love the story of the final shape. But from the perspective of the team that is trying to come together to stop the witness, like more so than like the witness's origins, if that makes sense.
Sure. So is this the end, man? Is this it?
First, I think it's the best campaign they've ever done. And I think that's not like a few people have that, actually more than a few, a lot of people have that opinion. And it's certainly much better than what they did last year, which at this point I can't even remember the name of it anymore.
Lightfall?
Which is probably better. Lightfall. Why'd you gotta remind me? But yeah, Lightfall. It's certainly the best campaign I think they've ever done. The pacing was really good. The mission variance was really good. It's the most approachable. Like, Destiny is the most approachable it's ever been for new players by miles and miles. Anyone could quite literally jump in, and play it at any point, and they wouldn't have to do anything to get ready. They wouldn't have to like level anything up. They could just go, which I think is really neat, and it's been a problem for Destiny for a long time. Do I think this is it? Yes and no. Bungie this is it. They're not going to say this is it, because if they do, people are going to stop playing it and stop spending money on it, right? And they can't have that. Mm-hmm. But this is it. Like, from this point on, it's just fan service, and it's just trying to like push the ball down the road to Destiny 3, in my opinion. That's it.
Wow.
I don't believe you're going to see the same investment in content. I think it's really just about getting everything they can, keeping the player population as healthy as they possibly can until Destiny 3. And I think Destiny 3 is coming way faster than most people think it is.
How
okay.
Next year? Or 2 years?
It doesn't make sense, but yeah. But I just don't know how Bungie they can't not have Destiny, right? Like right now, like they like Destiny, they're not going to just let a year go by with no Destiny. And I don't think they have enough to like sustain Destiny for 2 more years, unless there's another expansion coming next year, which they haven't announced, or which they have announced that I've missed. But have you heard of anything? I haven't.
I just remember a few weeks ago, you remember they were doing those like weekly streams for like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
I remember them saying something like, it's like the beginning of the end for Destiny 2. He said it's like, it's not the end, but it's like the beginning of the end.
It's the end of the Light and Dark saga, right?
Yeah.
So we've always had the Light, which is like the Traveler provides light, and then all the abilities that we had for years and years were all light-based abilities. And then, you know, obviously we started like wielding the darkness, and then we merged the light and the darkness, this expansion, into Prismatic. But they still have seasons.
That's the final shape. It's a pyramid. It's a prism.
There you go.
I solved the problem. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
They've always had seasons. Not always, but they've had seasons for a very long time. Those seasons are now 120 days, so they're going to be 4 months long. And there's 3 episodes in each season. So you're going to get 3 seasons a year instead of 4. And little episodes that are about 40 days long inside of each season. So they're going to do those over the next year. But this shows how much I prepared. I haven't heard of an expansion coming next year.
No, there hasn't been any rumor of that at all.
But right. So
there's just that one thing they said where it's like they were very cagey. It was like, yeah, it's the end of Destiny 2. It's not the end of Destiny. I was like, okay.
They'll never let that fall. And they have to do a Destiny 3 because they know that people are winding down on Destiny 2. And the best way to sort of re-engage people would be with a Destiny 3. People would buy that. It's know like,
that. I know this is going to sound a little weird, but it's like the Nintendo Switch. It's good. Everyone liked it, but it is old now. And Destiny 2 is old. And it's got, like, they've had to juggle content around, like, that game because it's built on, what, a 2017 framework. And
older.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe even 2014 or 2015. Yeah. So like in 2024 with stuff that, is out there, and also that now that they are a subsidiary of Sony, I think there's a ton of motivation for them to make a Destiny 3. I remember when Destiny 2 shipped that I was annoyed because like, it's like making a World of Warcraft 2. I always thought it was a bad idea. But here we are 10 years later, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I think it is time for a Destiny 3.
Well, 3 years versus 7 years, like Destiny 2 came quickly, right? It was 3 years.
It really did. And there was
Destiny
that motivation because they had signed a publishing deal with Activision Blizzard and stuff, so they had to get something on BattleNet. Yeah, there was like a lot of, I think, non-game focused business reasons why Destiny 2 happened when it did. And I think there might be something similar to why Destiny 3 will come, to your point, faster than we realize.
Well, and like I don't know if they broke their all-time concurrent players on Steam record or not with the final shape, but they were very close, and they were very close with massive server issues. So, like, for all intents and purposes, they broke it, and we know console would probably have way more players than what PC would have. So the problem is that now everyone is looking at this expansion as like the logical time to sort of wind down their Destiny 2 experience. which means maybe they don't buy more seasons, or maybe they go play something else, or maybe they stop spending money on the store. Everyone thinks Destiny 2 is coming to an end. Whether it is or it isn't, players feel like it is. So are they going to spend as much money as before if they feel like it's ending? You know, are they going to buy those cosmetics? Like, maybe not. Destiny 3 is a way to hit the reset button for Sony and Bungie and to offer a completely new experience. And let's be honest, basically sell all our old stuff back to us again.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen.
It happened already. It'll happen again.
Yeah. I don't know about development cycles and the logic of like, well, Destiny 3 can't be that close. I just look at it and say, maybe it would be rushed. Maybe it will be bare bones, obviously, compared to Destiny 2.
Yeah,
I just can't see how they can wait 2 years.
Given like how many things they've shipped after launching Destiny 2, yeah, I think Destiny 3 can ship in a kind of barren sort of state, like a very minimal sort of state. And then they just build on top of it. I think it's about internally at Bungie building like a new foundation that they're going to be able to build upon for another decade or something. So that's going to be tricky, but I'm sure during this whole development cycle for D2, they've been thinking, or they've put together a list of like, these are the things that have to be in Destiny 3, or we're not even going to do it. You know what I mean? Like problems that they've run into. Yeah, the vaulting thing with Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I think a better planned game probably wouldn't have run into that as many times as they have.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not blaming them. Like Destiny 3 will be bare bones because it's always going to be stood up against 7 years of content in Destiny 2. So that's not me being negative about it. Like,
no,
you are trying to build a foundation, like you said, and then build on top of it. But can you just imagine a world where we just played Destiny 2 for 2 more years? It just doesn't seem like that's the way it's going to go.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And look, maybe when did Lance Reddick pass away? It was a year ago, wasn't it? Or was it more than a year ago?
Feels like it was a little over a year ago, but yeah, probably.
So the new voice actor debuted in the final shape, which means I'm just using that to date this, right? So that says that they were recording voice lines for the final shape like within a year, essentially. Bungie did.
He passed away in March of last year.
Yep.
Okay. So a little more than a year. But Bungie, I remember when Bungie built an entire dungeon and released it in like under 6 months during COVID. They're used to building content on accelerated timelines. The final shape as an expansion, I'm sure it's been in the works for a long time, but like the vast majority of the development that went into that would probably have been in the last, 18 months?
Mm-hmm.
The final shape is huge. That's a whole game. Like some folks release games that size. So the idea that they couldn't have a Destiny 3 ready to go, depending on how long they've been working on it, they could.
They are also working on Marathon over at Bungie right now.
Absolutely. So
they have a lot of irons in the fire. And Lance Reddick was but Keith David stepped up to do the performance of Zavala going forward. So he's been doing it for about a year now.
Well, this is the first time we've ever heard him.
But he's been working with them.
Yeah, so he's been recording, but this is the first time those recordings ever made it into the game so far. Yep. It is a little jarring, but not negatively. He did a really good job. It's just that it's not like what you're used to, so it takes a little bit of getting, adjustment there. But I thought it's better than it was really well.
Them like running an LLM with a bunch of Zavala's voice and then spitting out AI nonsense, So
100%. And Zavala does have some pretty heavy involvement in this campaign. He's a little more emotional than Lance Reddick. But in a good way. Like, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think he makes a great Zavala and like a fitting person to kind of pick up the reins. But yeah, that's my Destiny 2.
So is this prismatic stuff cool?
It's very cool. Destiny has gone through a very long road of essentially at one point they used to give you a subclass and it just was what it was. There was no options within it, right? Like it just, everything was static. You chose this and you had this jump and this grenade and everything else. And then they kind of played with that a little bit where it's like, well, you choose, let's say solar, and you can choose between 3 different jumps. You can choose between 3 different grenades. And it kind of like ramped up from there. Now it's like 6 grenades and like 3 melees, and like you can build your own subclass in order to like play the way you want. But now what they've done with Prismatic is they've taken all of the subclasses essentially. So you used to have Solar, Void, Arc, Stasis, Strand, and you mix and match pieces from all of them into like the Prismatic subclass. So you might have like a Stasis melee and then a Solar grenade. And the whole point is that you're trying to essentially balance your light and dark abilities and damage types. And as you defeat enemies with light, you have a bar that fills up underneath your super meter. And as you defeat enemies with darkness, you have a different bar that fills up. And when those 2 bars completely fill, you can activate something called Transcendence, which allows you then to buff your abilities and whatnot and throw like a grenade, which is made up of 2 different damage types and things. It's in a nutshell, more customization than ever before.
Yeah.
But it's really cool in the Destiny 2 sandbox because one of the most fun things to do is to build craft in Destiny 2, and it just got ramped up big time. So
yeah, I remember, we do these world's first attempt streams with Sam Chandler and his gang over in Australia. They'll live stream on Twitch. And some of my favorite parts of those streams is when things aren't going well and they sit there and they start auditing their builds.
Yeah.
And it's like about 30 minutes where all they're doing is just standing there and talking to each other because they're like, no, we need to figure this out. It's not working. There's such a team composition aspect of the raids, so I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's weird. I don't play this game at all, but I watch it because it's stunning. Like I think there's things that happen in this game that no other FPS has really accomplished on the scale that they have.
I really don't know how. Like we always talk about how it's buggier than it's ever been, but like we need to take a second to appreciate the fact that it doesn't just melt with everything happening on screen, because you oftentimes will have 6 players interacting with like 50 enemies and everyone is throwing abilities and it's just the color palette is exploding off the screen of different
ton of lighting effects and explosive effects
and
like
you're
all
getting
sorts of stuff
120
happening.
frames somehow.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think they do deserve a lot of credit for that. And I think they make amazing set pieces. Like just gorgeous locations.
And the final shape is their best by far. It is so unnerving at certain points. They'll do things like just sort of tilt the world a little bit, like maybe like on a 10% angle and just, but it's weird. Like you're used to just everything being level. And then all of a sudden things are just off by a tiny little bit and you don't realize how much that throws you off, or, upside down staircases and things like that. And you're just, it can be a little trippy in a good way. And, yeah, they did a really, really good job with it. But
yeah, their environmental artists over there are awesome. Like, they do amazing work. And that dates back for me as a fan of Bungie. And I don't know, Joe, if you feel the same way, but like some of the, you look back at like some of the Halo 2 level design, and I know it wasn't like graphically that impressive, but just from a function standpoint, I think Bungie has made amazing levels for decades now.
And like,
for sure.
The fundamental thing for me with Destiny 2 is like none of this works if the movement and the shooting mechanics aren't incredible, and they are. Like the shooting is so satisfying. Like everything about this game just falls apart if they don't do that properly, right? You have to have that foundation of like great movement and excellent shooting, like the way the guns feel, the way they sound, or not even the guns, just the weapons, because there's so many different types. But I think that it's Destiny 2 is in the best place, and Destiny is a franchise and it's ever been, even though I know that sometimes sentiment doesn't really reflect that. From a gameplay perspective, there's more content to do than ever before. It's more approachable than ever before. It's in a fantastic place.
Awesome.
Well, that's exciting. And we dropped this story just kind of alongside it. We won't get to it in our news segment, but yeah, the surfers got slammed. They got really slammed. And we even had a tweet go viral where we used the Simpsons meme to describe what it felt like to get into the final shape on Tuesday. So there's that.
That was probably the worst for servers that I've seen. In all the we all know, we're probably going to have some disconnects and some queue issues on the day of an expansion, but typically those are worked out within like an hour or two. I was getting disconnected yesterday still at points. So.
It was frustrating too, because you would get into the game, you'd get into a mission even, or sometimes you'd be in the loading screen for the mission and then you would boot you out. So it was like, it was a lot of like people felt that they were in and then they weren't. So I saw a lot of really frustrated players. Our Discord was full of a lot of people who were like, yeah, I can't get in today. And I always feel bad for that. Like there's always that one dude who like calls off of work so that they can just play whatever on any given day. And it really does seem that like if you're into live service games, maybe hold your PTO for like a week.
I would bet you there was a bunch of people in the Shacknews clan that did that, because when I signed on when the expansion released, like it was basically just like every chatty Destiny 2 player was just online.
Yep.
Right. So I guarantee they were taking days off. Friend of the podcast, Jan, we all know. I am 99% sure he booked a week off once for a Destiny expansion. Like that's how heavy. And they used to ask me, they're like, are you going to take time off? I'm like, no, but it's my job to play it. So it doesn't matter. I literally get
paid to play this game.
Yeah, I don't. Why would I do that? Why would I waste my time off on
Do not play this in your free time, Bill.
Yeah.
Bill's like, I'm going to go outside. That's what I'm going to do on my free
On my vacation, I try to stay away from the chair, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like this is a great time for Destiny 2 players. Which means it's a great time for Shacknews, because we're the best place on the internet to get any guide information, any videos, whatever you want Destiny 2 related. We got you covered. We can talk about it on the podcast. Yeah, it's actually good. It's actually well-researched content that gets posted there. So yeah, we have a walkthrough of the Final Shape campaign, and I know that you and Sam are going to be tackling the, what's it called? Salvation's Edge? Am I right?
Something like that. Yeah, the raid tomorrow. Oh man, that just snuck up on me. Just wow.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, it is.
It's coming like a freight train. And yeah, Sam and his gang will be on Twitch tomorrow. I think it's 1 p.m. Eastern.
Correct.
He'll be streaming it. It could go 24 hours. So you'll have plenty of time to stop in, cheer for the boys. And yeah. It's great. So you should stop by twitch.tv/Shacknews on Friday the 7th. So Joe, what have you been playing? Nothing?
No, I haven't been playing anything. But I finished my trilogy of books, which I mentioned, and then I finished the show, Three Body Problem. And Asif, I saw that your brother commented that he was inspired by some of the chats to dive in. So that's great. I'm glad I can just get a little bit of validation that my book talk here hasn't been totally hollow.
He said it was mind-blowing / opening.
Yes.
And he would not use those descriptors for anything. So when I saw him say that, I'm like, damn, am I going to have to read this now? But yeah. Sounds interesting. I'm intrigued now. Because he reads a lot. So if someone gets him that interested where he'll blow through 3 books in a few weeks, it's usually really good.
Yes, can confirm. And some of the Destiny talk that just happened about the lore was reminiscent of some of the themes. So if you're into the Destiny lore,
the 3 bodies are the Traveler, the Witness, and what, the Tower? I don't know.
Do you know what the 3 bodies refer to? Have we talked about that?
No, I'll go do the thing.
It's not like what it's about. It's a kind of a interesting choice for a title.
Okay.
But the 3 bodies of that canon refer to a semi-close star system where there isn't 1 sun but 3 suns, and the implications of such a situation because there are physics implications and danger that are associated with that. Yes.
In this economy?
Tell me about it.
Can't even have one sun.
I know. Okay. Can you imagine the global warming on that planet? Yeah, that's me. I would love to play a game soon, but with the coming weekend and all the announcements we're getting, I think I will probably be inspired to dive into something, and I'm sure we'll have a shadow drop or two.
Yeah.
So,
I think we're probably going to have a shadow drop this weekend, I would guess. Probably tomorrow during the Summer of Jeff.
The Summer of Jeff. Yeah, so that's me. Asif, what have you been playing?
I played a little bit more Animal Well. I find it rather charming.
Great.
I'm warming up to it, but not too much because it's still a Metroidvania, and I do feel that at times I hate it. So it's fine though. Yeah. I played a little bit more of Multiverses, but it is a mess. Just everything. There's Iron Giant is a playable fighter in that game. Mm-hmm. They had to remove from the game. Like, they didn't even, it's bad when they can't even patch a fix. They have to literally remove a character from the roster. So yeah, things are pretty bad over there in Multiverses land right now. When it works, it's fun. But yeah, I went, I was playing it every day last week because there are dailies and stuff. And I do like games that are gamified like that. But it has not got its hooks in me. I've been able to just be like, whatever. Maybe after a few more patches I'll get back in there, but no, not doing anything too crazy in that game anymore. I'm still playing Vampire Survivors every day. I love that game. It is, I think TJ described it as it's like a time machine, but it only goes forward, right? So like, if you want to burn 30 minutes and make it feel like it's been 2, Vampire Survivors is the way.
Well said.
So I still love it for that. And I'm still trying to unlock some stuff. I'm running into problems with these unlocks because it's like, upgrade your gun, or max out the spread gun or max out the sonic gun or whatever. And I can there's an element of luck to Vampire Survivors, right? Where you roll when you get a treasure chest, you don't really get to pick what you're upgrading.
Right.
You do get to pick when you get to your next XP level or whatever, but then you're still limited to only 3 choices, right? And that's random too. So I have had bad luck on getting the sonic cannon fully upgraded. I did fully upgrade the flamethrower or the circle shot fire thing, and it's awesome. It just shoots this it's like half a screen wide, just a wave of fire that comes out of your gun.
Wow.
So it's really fun. I'm telling you, man, when you fully upgrade some of these weapons, it's really cool. And I like the sound of when you have like a fully maxed out character in Vampire Survivors, that sound of just you chopping people up and shooting enemies and getting the blue tokens or whatever. There's something really great about that sound. And I do think they're heavily inspired by slot machines, and I think they've done a very good job of bringing those things that give you dopamine in a slot machine experience, bringing that to a game. I think they've done that extremely well, and I think it's part of why that game's so addictive still. But yeah, it's great. Highly recommended.
Sweet. And
then lastly, and this is gonna surprise the folks at home, I've been playing F-Zero 99.
No.
Yeah, I've been playing F-Zero 99. I'm really good, but I didn't win this week. So I guess I'm not that great. No, I had a second place finish on Mute City 2 last night, and I've already told you I hate Mute City 2. And why do I hate Mute City 2? Because it has a freaking roundabout in it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's dangerous.
By the way, they're actually building a roundabout about 2 miles from my house right now. So I don't know who is selling Canton, Ohio on roundabouts, but stop. Get some help.
Is it going to behave like F-Zero's where there's no stoplights or anything? Like it's just...
Technically, roundabouts don't have stops.
Oh, I guess there's yields. There's yields.
It's a 4-way yielding situation. Yeah. I guess it's only a 1-way in F-Zero, so I don't know. Anyway, Mute City 2 sucks, but I'm pretty good, so I almost won it there.
Yeah.
It was a weird race, too, because I was literally wire to wire second place, and that was so frustrating, because first lap, second lap, third lap, fourth lap, every time, second place. And it was a good example of how my car's not the best, because the person who beat me was driving the Golden Fox. which has the best acceleration in the game. I'm driving the Fire Stingray that has the best top speed but worst acceleration in the game. So that was frustrating. And then on Deathwind 2, the mirror track, I had maybe the closest second place finish I've ever had. I had lost by like a third of a second or something, and it was neck and neck kind of thing. I'm really digging these mirror tracks in the pro circuit. There's like the pro mode. So like there's Mirror Port Town 2, there's Mirror Red Canyon 2, and I showed a clip of that last week in our Discord where it's just like a series of sweet jumps. So I got to Mirror Silence, which is the 5th track in the Night League. It's ridiculous because that's a track that's known for its 90-degree angles. And they're like, you know what? We're just going to put some sweet jumps in here. So now that you can like jump over these 90-degree turns, but if you do, you can die. I've had some spectacular deaths in the last week. So like, there's a lot of jumps in this game. I had this one where a drone bumped me as I was going off a jump and I died. That was infuriating because I was like in 3rd place on like the 2nd lap when it happened. And then, yeah, I played some more classic mode. I'm having trouble bouncing between the mode because like everything else in F-Zero 99 has the same feel, team mode, mini pre, whatever. But when you go to classic, it is a very different feel. So it's a feel I'm used to, but it's just jumping between the two can be tough. So I didn't win any classic races this week, but I was close. I'm either like finishing top 5, top 10, or I'm like in the 80s because I died. But I am doing that thing where, you really do have to use every last ounce of energy to win that in that game. So, you have to take risks to do that. Still loving it, but yeah, didn't win anything. And yeah, it's been I'm back to playing that every day. So it's good stuff happening. Nice. I was never really gone, but I took like a week or two after I won for the first time. I think it was about a week. And then, yeah, obviously we did that Zelda stream. So I took some time off to do that. But yeah, now, at the end of the night, I'm playing F-Zero 99 almost every day. And it's a good thing. And yeah, if Nintendo ever, they listen to this podcast. So Nintendo, let me talk to these devs. No one else is. Like, let me talk to them.
Yeah, it's all good.
What are you afraid of?
There's nothing.
What are you afraid of? What am I gonna say to them? Congratulations on making my favorite video game of all time. Oh my god, that's horrible PR.
How dare you?
like just let me talk to them. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Let them at least be celebrated for a second. It's like, does anyone know who made that game? No. It's weird. It's very weird. They deserve more praise. And yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was last week or the week before when we were doing predictions. That's why I remind people, I'm still predicting F-Zero 99. We're going to get an update during the Nintendo Direct in June.
Okay.
Yep.
No,
that's it. That's what I've been playing. I guess we have
been busy. Yeah.
Yeah, And then, yeah, it's, Bill mentioned it, but it's the Summer of Jeff is here. So, we're going to be covering everything. So it's a lot of work coming up these next few weeks. But yeah, it'll be good. So keep it locked on Shacknews for all, trailers, news, whatever on any platform. We have you covered. So I guess we have a game coming up, Joe?
We have a game, and this is going to be the first game semi-authored by host Asif Khan.
I don't want to say I authored it because that would imply that I know these questions. I don't.
The premise.
I came up with the idea. Premise. I helped with the ideation, which I think is a hilarious word. The ideation of this game.
Yeah.
But I did not. I was like, here's what I'm thinking. But I was like, I don't want to be involved in the generation of the questions. Just so Bill understands. But anyway.
Yes, there's although maybe you should have been, because you will need you'll need to be on your A game, because I have a sense that Bill's gonna kick ass on this. So we'll see.
If this is what I think it is, this is a tough topic for almost anybody.
Including you?
Yes, but we'll see. I'm not saying I don't have an inside track if it is what I think it is. I don't know exactly. Why don't I wait and see what it is?
Let's head over to the segment. Okay. We'll be right back. All right, welcome to D2 Sieves. If you're a longtime listener, you may recall a segment entitled Sea of Deceives, And today's game falls in that same bucket where I'm going to be presenting Bill and Asif a list of words, titles, phrases, and they are either the names of Destiny 2 weaponry or I made them up. And if you've played Destiny 2, you know there are countless guns with very obscure names.
With increasingly gibberish sounding names over time.
Yes.
So
some of them aren't even words.
yeah, some of them are just made up. That's a good point, Bill.
Yes. And some would be difficult to pronounce. So we'll see how this goes.
So do we have to ring in? Like, does Bill have to say Bill? Okay.
Let's see. How should this work?
Or should you alternate who gets to go first or something?
That seems tough.
I'm chiming in thing.
We could do chiming in, but I'm also, and this isn't to be cocky, but might be better to let Asif take a crack, right?
Okay.
You might win, but that's okay. It'll be fun no matter what.
You may play, but I'm the one who's up at 3 a.m. approving Sam's headlines.
I know. I am not overestimating you at all.
I have constant conversations with Sam almost every day about the absurdity of God roll titles. So we'll see.
They make our headlines channel obsolete.
Okay,
let's do buzzing.
I think buzzing is right. Yeah.
Buzzing feels right. Guys, let's kick it off with round 1. Here we go. Swarm of the Raven.
Bill.
Asif. Oh, Bill.
I heard Bill.
That is a weapon.
That is correct.
I'm in trouble.
Let's go. Ness's Oblation.
Asif.
Bill.
I heard Asif.
Yes, it's real.
Correct.
Yeah.
There we go.
I thought oblation just sounded ridiculous.
It does. I don't think that's a word. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that's a word. Nameless Sunset.
Bill.
Go ahead, Bill.
Not a gun.
Correct. The corollary is Nameless Midnight.
Sorry.
Which is a gun.
So oblation? Is it oblation with an O?
Correct. Ness's Oblation.
That is a thing. It's a word. A thing presented or offered to God or a god. So it's an offering to a god.
Okay, it's an offering to Nessus.
Yeah, Nessus, yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Good answer.
Okay, Bill is up 2-1. Here we go.
Yep.
Dimensional Hypotrochoid.
Asif. That's not a god roll.
Bill, you have a chance. No, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work very well.
What do you mean I have a chance?
Never mind. Incorrect.
Just ring in and say the opposite.
Yeah, are we doing that? That seems
No, I'm joking. Yeah. I'm joking. There's really no way to pull that off. That is incorrect. So no point. Next up. Axis Tilt.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Point to Bill. Well done. Totally made up. Here we go. The Maiden.
Asif.
Okay.
Yes, it has to be.
It's not. I got you.
Ah!
I was I knew that one too. Okay. Yeah.
Don't worry, Bill. I'm doing it great over here by myself, just pretending I win.
Very satisfactory. Next up, Commemoration.
Bill.
All right.
Yes.
Correct. That is a gun. Next we have Battle Wound.
Asif.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Correct.
Yeah.
The corollary is Battle Scar.
I think Asif's picking up on what I'm picking up on the trend here.
Perhaps.
I'm probably not, Bill.
I was I'm
the golden retriever meme. I have no idea what I'm doing.
If it's not complete nonsense, it might not be a gun.
Yeah, if it sounds too real, it's probably not in the... Okay, yeah, you're right.
I was like, when he said tilt, I was like, Bungie wouldn't use the word tilt. No, come on. Like,
yeah, they'd use some 5-syllable word that means tilt.
I like that we stopped the game just to like make fun of Joe's word. Okay, go ahead.
No, we're not making fun of Joe. We're cracking the meta.
Yeah, there you go. That's a very Destiny thing.
Except that you're not. Next up, Jorum's Claw.
Bill.
Yes. Bill.
I heard Bill.
And it is yes.
Yes,
I said yes instead of my name. Damn it. I remember that one.
Here we go. Submissive.
Bill.
Awesome.
Bill.
Yes.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Do you know why it's incorrect?
Yeah,
it's
I do.
Probably another word, right?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know why. It's just, it sounds like it's very close. He sounded it after the gun. I can't even remember exactly what it is, but it's, yeah.
So I said submissive. And the name of a real
Submissives.
Destiny 2 gun is Submission.
Submission.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty
There we go.
sneaky, Joe.
That was a good one.
I wonder if I should have given points to the loser, but I'm not doing that.
No.
Next up, Autumn Wind.
Bill.
Bill.
Yes.
Incorrect. Oh, no, you're right. No, you're right. That is one. I'm sorry.
It is one.
I like looked up in at my ceiling like, what?
I messed up my rubric. You are correct.
Maybe
That
they're
was
like a
correct.
Raiders fan. The Autumn Wind. I don't know. NFL films? Nobody? No. I'm talking
No, I'm
to the
sorry.
wrong people. I'm talking to the wrong people about that.
You are.
There's
Here we
the old-timey voiceover guy from the NFL films. He used to be like, the Autumn Wind is a blah, 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 and so are the Raiders. Anyway.
Okay. I kind of get it.
Yeah.
But do you get this?
Probably not.
Here we go. Bite of the Imp.
Awesome.
Bill.
Asif.
Yes.
Incorrect.
Damn it. It's close to something, though,
It's
right?
Bite of the Fox, isn't it?
It is Bite of the Fox. That's right.
Why would he would never put imp in the... Yeah.
Here we go. Harsh language.
Bill.
Bill.
Oh, yes.
Correct. Correct.
I knew harsh was right. I was very skeptical about language.
Next up, we have 3 left.
I'm losing.
Asif, you are out of contention, but
I've already lost, but let's keep going. This is fun.
next up we have Regal Ambassador.
Bill.
Bill.
No.
No, what's the corollary?
It's Regal something, but it's not Ambassador.
Royal
I don't-
Executioner.
Oh, okay. So not Regal, but yeah, okay, that's right.
Royal,
That's
yeah.
the beautiful thing is I'm like, no, that sounds right, but it sounds wrong. Yeah.
He's done a good job with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of these things sound like they could be in the game.
But they're like the final shape where the environment is familiar, but it's just not quite right. Something.
I mean,
wrong.
Destiny should just listen to this podcast and use these for next whatever
Yeah, take them.
next year.
Yeah.
These are a Creative Commons license. 2 left. Volta Bracket.
Awesome.
Bill.
Asif.
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
And our final round. Wainwright's Wrath.
Awesome.
Asif.
No.
Correct. That is made up name and a play on Rufus's Fury, Rufus Wainwright, one of my favorite singers of all time.
Okay.
And so, our final score is Asif with 4 points, Bill with 7. Bill,
you
you
go,
are a
Bill.
champion.
You
Well
did
done.
Okay. I accept my award. I'm Asif. What was the gun? Not the gun. What was the weapon yesterday that you were interested in? Just as an aside, do you remember that? I posted it in
The
in
sword?
Slack. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Ergo sum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just sorry. I thought that was one of the more fascinating things because Ergo Sum is a weapon in Destiny 2. So now I'm just waiting for the other half.
Yeah, Cogito. There's going to be a Cogito at some point.
Has to be. Bungie wouldn't do one without the other.
Yeah, because I mentioned this because Cogito Ergo Sum is like was that Latin for I think therefore I am, which is like the core tenet of existential philosophy. But then they released a gun that's just called Ergo Sum, which just means therefore I am. And I'm like, come on, guys. What are you doing?
They'll do right by you. But that's a very cool thing.
The sword.
There is a lot of nonsense, but there's also sometimes some very interesting takes on in the names of their weapons. I think overall they do a really good job with them.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Oblation.
Yeah, the sword is very cool. Nice.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Bill, this is your first win in a Shack together game, right?
Yeah, it is. We didn't do a game last time because I was still recovering from the beating I took over.
Oh, yeah, we did the code name one with you.
Right. And I was like, as soon as Joe said that, I was like, oh, I'm putting up a goose egg for sure.
I thought I had a pretty good showing here against you, Bill, right?
You did really well. But Joe did really well at it's funny because when they described the final shape and what they were trying to do, they talked about creating familiar environments in the campaign, but there's just something a little bit wrong with them. And Joe did exactly the same thing with the names of the weapons in just the way that he was able to sort of like introduce some familiarity with what he was saying, but there was something just not quite right. So I found myself a lot of times being like, I want to say yes, but something feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good, Joe.
Guys, you're giving me too much credit. This is something that is nonsense like this is second nature. So think nothing of it. Well, thank you for playing D2 Sieves I wonder what the third iteration of something Sieves will be.
It's a really good format, though, Joe. I really think this is like it's something you can revisit. We've proven it now. You can apply different things to it.
Yeah, we haven't had too many recurring segments, but here's an example. Great job. Congratulations to Bill. Next up is story time. Take it away, Asif.
Welcome to Storytime. Let's dive into the latest stories from the past week. We're going to start with our quickies, trademarked, or also known as Preview Palooza.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of previews this week there at the Shacknews.com. Probably the biggest one is Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, which TJ Denzer flew out to Los Angeles for a preview event and had nothing but glowing remarks about this expansion. It features a giant ball with an arm sticking out of it, and apparently TJ took a selfie with it at the event, so that's kind of neat. Looks, I don't know, I think people who listen to our podcast probably don't want it to be spoiled on Elden Ring. I don't think TJ did any spoiling in his preview, but yeah, this isn't DLC. This is very much an expansion. So yeah, Bill, I don't know if you have anything to say about it. I know you played
in terms of the I'm in a tough spot for the expansion myself because I really want to play it, but I screwed myself when I started New Game Plus way back when. I should have kept the long story short, I should have kept a save from completing the game, and I didn't. So I basically started at square one, so I spent some time trying to get it back, but I just don't know that I have the energy to Elden Ring again. If I could just play the expansion, I certainly would, but I don't know that I have it in me to like grind it out to get to a place where I would be comfortable playing it, if that makes sense. But
well, especially the way you played it, Bill, because you did grind and you made your character almost OP to the point where like your boss battles were hilarious to watch because you had these like super powerful weapons and you were already, maxed out on several things. So yeah, I could see how the way you played it, the idea of doing that again, that's like me saying, oh yeah, I'm going to go back into Tears of the Kingdom and do more dupes for the next 2 weeks. It's like, I'm good.
Yeah, it's just a lot for sure. But I have no doubt that it'll be amazing. And I watch a streamer called Anthony Kong Fan who is very good at many, many games, but he's particularly enjoyable to watch anytime he's doing boss battles. If he's playing a tough boss, he'll spend 2 days doing it, like 2 full streams, just like grinding the boss. And I'll be able to enjoy it through Twitch, if nothing else. But maybe I'll have it in me. Maybe I can do it. I don't know. We'll see.
Cool. So yeah, check out that preview if you want to learn more about Shadow of the Erdtree, but from what I've seen, a lot of people just want to go into it with as little information as possible, which I don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we also have a preview for Wild Bastards, which is I wouldn't call it a sequel, but it's a follow-up to Void Bastards from several years ago.
Yep.
Weird looking game. Really cool art style. Yeah.
As was Void Bastards. Also strange looking, cartoonish, cell shading something or other.
Yeah, it's cell shaded, but it has this like the textures pop in a way that some cell shaded games don't. So it looks cool. Yeah, Lucas previewed it for us. I don't know. It's another roguelike. So we'll see. It just feels like this is the year that we're slapping roguelike into every genre.
It feels like that doesn't feel new to me personally. I feel like every game for the past 5 years has been doing that.
Yeah, but like we got Balatro this year, Joe, and like I don't know. That just seems. I don't.
Maybe it is still ramping up. Yeah, I guess you're right.
I just mean I'm talking more about genres and like style of gameplay that's being. Of course, Hades 2 is you know what I mean, like that, and or the Prince of Persia. Like, yeah, those are fine, but I'm talking more like we're seeing it in genres that you wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah,
like genres that you wouldn't have seen it before. Which F-Zero 99 is a great example of the battle royale format being applied to a racing game. So it's like, that's what the video game industry does. It looks at something cool and it says, oh, we can do something with that.
Sure.
I'm trying to think, we talked about, like, there was like a climbing game. I can't remember what it was called, but like Ozzy reviewed a climbing game and then Laren reviewed a climbing game this year. And one of those had like roguelike elements, I think.
Right. Not Jusant, the other one.
The other one, I can't remember what it was called, but so that's all I'm saying is that it seems like we're getting different genres kind of colliding into this roguelike explosion, which is fine. I don't dislike roguelikes. It's just some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are too hard, whatever. What isn't too hard and looks adorable is Cat Quest 3, which is an open world game where you're basically you're a pirate cat. And it looks hilarious and awesome, and that series is already pretty well established. So yeah, it just looks like bigger, better, piratey.
Open world.
Yeah, open world with kitty cats. Just sounds delightful. So that is coming out on August 8th. So this was just a preview by Lucas, but that game looks adorable. Kitty cats and pirates. Come on. Can't do any better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Another quickie we got here. Skydance Behemoth takes the Saints and Sinners team from zombies to giants. So Skydance has been making these VR games. I gotta give them credit, man. At a time where there's not really many melee combat VR games, Skydance has really innovated in that space with like chainsaws and Saints and Sinners, and it looks like there's like an axe in this game. So yeah, I don't know. I think they have some very visceral combat in their VR games. I know, Joe, you're like Mr. Simulation Sickness, so this game would make you hurl. Definitely.
I was on the web team for Saints and Sinners a couple years back. We were building that website, and there was lots of assets being passed back and forth for like, conversion to a gallery or whatever. I even had trouble looking at like the YouTubeification of that game, let alone
just
playing
watching somebody play it. The gameplay
I did have trouble watching it. Yeah,
it can be disorienting.
Are you still in your like VR? I associate with Asif over the course of the past decade. I think of you first.
I appreciate.
Are you
that.
like? Yeah, you're welcome. Is this like drop everything you're doing and dive into the next big VR thing? Are you in that mode?
I'm not. No.
No.
I don't use VR very often anymore. I think it does affect. I think there's effects on. I mean, this is a very long topic, but I'll just say that I think there are psychological effects to using VR regularly. And I say that as someone who had over the years, when I was reviewing a headset, for instance, or whatever, I would just kind of take note of how I feel differently in it. And I think it comes down to a few things. I think VR is affecting the human control, like, of impulse. Like impulse control. I think it's affected by using VR. And then there's also just VR sickness, which, like, I don't always get simulator sickness, but when I do, it ruins my day. And, like, I don't care how little I like a 2D video game. It's very rare that a 2D flat screen game is going to make me feel physically ill. You know what I mean? So over the years, I've gone from like, yeah, I want to try out all the cutting edge VR stuff to now like, I only want to play the most polished experiences. Cause like for so long I was playing these pre-release VR games and I would run into bugs and I was like, well, there goes a whole day.
Wow.
Yeah. So like as much as I think VR is important, I am not an avid user of it. I think I more am watching it because I think it's going to have an impact on society, and it already has. But I think it's going to have a larger impact on society. But you know, there are studios doing cool things, and I point out Saints and Sinners as it's a very good VR game, and it's fun. And I think if they're expanding on that formula, it's going to be good. Skydance has done a very good job with hand presence. I think the Alchemy Labs folks, people who did Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator and Cosmonius High, I think they've done a really good job with hand presence. So it's like each of these things help us build towards that metaverse future, but we're clearly not there yet. And I think that there's something about being fully occluded from the world that's bad for us. Like when you put on a VR headset and you're not where you were, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sounds like you should read Three Body, Asif.
Probably, but also like I'm just someone who's I've been covering VR intensely since the Oculus DK1 headset was shipped, and then I bought a DK2. I've tried out countless prototypes and stuff. So like when you're on the cutting edge of VR development, you are putting yourself in harm's way, is what I would say. And these studios are too, because unless you have Oculus coming to you with some money or for an exclusive or Sony, it's not great. We didn't put it in the rundown, but Sony is bringing the PSVR 2 to PC with like no support of anything that's good in the headset. So there's like, the headset has eye tracking. If you use it on PC, it doesn't. So it's like, okay, you built this very, very expensive product for PS5 and now you're shoving it onto PC and it's barely going to do anything cool.
Do you think that's a political choice or
I don't know.
Like they didn't want to invest in the tech?
It's got to be that. The latter is my guess, is that it's already losing them money, putting more time into more driver support. Probably not a thing. But maybe there's a mod community that could help it out on PC. Because it isn't bad hardware. It's actually quite good. And I think they made it ergonomically better designed. But I'm not going to buy this to play it on PC. And then, since we're talking VR, my Vision Pro is just sitting there collecting dust next to that stupid orange box that I bought. I don't know. If the Vision Pro was lighter, I would use it. It's just too heavy. And I don't know. I think that there are... You remember just a few months ago how everyone said that was the future of computing?
Well, I remember a couple people saying that.
Yeah, and then they proceeded to return it.
Yeah, I remember the same things being said about VR.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's similar in that sense, where it's like, sure, it is the future of computing and the future of interactions on social platforms, but it's not there yet, and it hasn't been there yet. And I think because you exist, Joe, it will never be as ubiquitous as iPhones or Macs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like VR headsets is always going to be niche because simulator sickness exists. And when it happens, it ruins your day. And I just can't think of a consumer electronic product that has that kind of risk attached to it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a very long-winded. I turned a quickie into a longie. I apologize, but I think you asked a good question. Because for a long time, I would jump at any opportunity to try out a VR headset or an AR headset. And now it's more like, I'll get around to it when I do kind of thing. It's also just the nature of the cycle that we're in. It's been about 10, 12 years of VR hype cycle, and we've seen it boom and bust a couple of times. And I think we're witnessing that happening again.
Sure. Quick side note. I think the other non-Jusant game was called Surmount.
Surmount. That was right. Because that's like a good pun.
It's a great pun.
Yeah. Not as good as Bolero, the bowling alley in town called Bolero. Come on. It's great.
Nice.
Canton's got puns. Some more quickies here. Itch.io launches Queer Games Bundle 2024 featuring 500 products. It's pretty cool.
That's a lot.
It's Pride Month. The money is going to help LGBTQ creators and charities. And it's running from now until... when is it over? Sorry, I want to make sure I get this right. They're almost at their goal of $11,000. It is the offer ends in a month, so you got time. I think it's like sometime in July. Check it out if you haven't already. Support some good causes. And God, this is like a theme of today's show. Shovel Knight is celebrating 10 years, and they're gonna have a Yacht Club Games Present showcase next week.
Wow. Do you know what I'm hoping for? On the
day that you leave.
I know. I'm gonna check it when I get to the hotel at night. I am hoping for. I don't know. This comes with a huge grain of salt. I have no backing. There's no logic to what I'm going to say. I'm hoping that what they did for the NES nostalgia, we get for the 3D platformer. I want a Shovel Knight announcement of like the Mario 64 variety.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like you want Shovel Knight in a 3D platformer?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I don't care if it's Shovel Knight. I mean, I assume that's like the smart marketing thing to do, like leverage an existing IP. I just mean, I'd like for them to tap into that. There's not enough of that stuff. Although I did just see, it's not in the show notes, that Yooka-Laylee is getting remastered. The exact, type of thing I was just talking about. It's a nostalgia play on Mario 64, basically, and it's getting remastered.
Well, that's Banjo-Kazooie.
Sure.
It's similar devs. Yeah. Yacht Club is up to a lot of stuff over there internally. And I remember they had like a fighting game. Remember that? With the Shovel Knight characters? I
do remember that, yeah.
So I was at PAX West that year that they were releasing that. And I just got to chatting with the devs. And they said they had an internal build of a game that is essentially Shovel Knight Kart. And I would love that. I'm just going to throw it out there. If they did something like that, I wouldn't be mad. If it was just some random, like, hey, we have a new multiplayer game we're shipping right now. Like, that would be cool if they shadow drop something there. The other thing that they could do, Joe, and I know Shovel Knight, like, if you look at all the expansions that came out for it, there's so much to do in that game. Yeah. And it, like, feels like a different game when you're playing with the different characters, right?
Yeah. I like some of them, and like they're so different that I like some of them and dislike other campaigns. Yeah, I
can't remember, like one of the night. I can't remember what is. There's some guy. It like turns the game into Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but it's 2D. I love that one. But yeah. What if they just made Shovel Knight 2?
Shovel Knight 2 would be great. That first campaign is so good.
The music's excellent. The level design's perfect.
Incredible music. Yeah.
Like very, very innovative traversal mechanic. For, obviously inspired by DuckTales and Mega Man. I thought the boss battles were great. Yes. I wouldn't be mad if they just say, "Hey, Shovel Knight 2." I'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah. Do you think we'll get a Mina the Hollower shadow drop?
No, I don't think so. I think it's really tough to compete in June. So we'll see. Maybe we do get a shadow drop of something, but Mina the Hollower, I don't know. That haven't really heard much from them in the last few months. So maybe, but yeah, excited to see what they have to announce. Yacht Club Games has just been a personal favorite of mine for a while now. So
great stuff.
But yeah, like just a Shovel Knight 2. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'd be happy.
A SNES rendition.
Yeah. Or Super Shovel Knight.
Super Shovel Knight is a great idea.
Oh my God. Get
That's
the
a great idea.
Games on the phone right now.
One of those rare instances where you just say a fake title and it fills your head with I can see it. I can taste it.
Mm-hmm. Me too. And I'm here for it. So yeah, apparently this Dragon Age game that hasn't been announced or shown yet, Dragon Age Dreadwolf has been renamed to Dragon Age Veilguard, and gameplay reveal will be
couple days
week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on the next show.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Sure.
You a Dragon Age fan, Joe?
I'm a Dragon Age fan.
Okay.
I've said on this show many times that my white whale is
finishing
the
Inquisition.
Third game, Inquisition, yeah, which I think is actually a bad game, but I feel some
Shacknews Game of the Year 2014.
Yeah, listen, sometimes you miss.
I didn't have a vote back then, dude.
There you go. See.
Bill wasn't even here, or Bill was here. Then he left.
Bill was.
Yeah, but not in that capacity though.
Bill did not have a vote.
Yeah, all I did was stream. So
yeah. Bill was being used improperly.
All I was doing was streaming The Sims and having my neighbors kick over my garbage can. Yeah.
Shacknews 2014. How can we assemble a group of talented people and make them do the wrong thing for each of their jobs?
You're welcome.
God, what a mess. It's a miracle we made it out of 2014, guys. That was the first year. That was the first year when I wasn't the full owner yet. We'll get into it down the road.
Well,
maybe around
that would be a fun episode. Just unpacking the cap table.
There's some unpacking the cap table. Oh God! No! I shudder even to think of that.
I actually streamed DayZ in 2014 for Shacknews.
Yeah,
I remember
and
that.
Civ.
Yeah.
I remember you streamed Civ.
All night for Extra Life, I believe.
Extra Life, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun
And
stream.
the bad Civ, too. Not even any of the good ones.
What was it, like 5?
The
4?
one in space or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever
I
it was
remember-
called. I don't remember.
I remember you were starting shit with Gandhi in one of your streams. I thought that was pretty funny.
Dude, I attack Gandhi at every possible turn. Like,
It was hilarious.
it just...
Bill and Gandhi have this really like multi-generational rivalry in the Civ games. I don't know why Gandhi is such a prick in Civ. Like, wasn't he like a non-violent?
But that's the thing. That's what got me. Is that it wasn't like nice Gandhi. Like, he would show up with a scowl and be a jerk. And I'd be like, fine, let's fight. You know, it was weird, but...
Very strange behavior out of Gandhi in the Civ games is all I'm saying. But he was never in charge of a country. There's a lot of things we could... Anyway, Dreadwolf, now Veilguard. But yeah, you like tactics games, right, Joe? Like Final Fantasy Tactics? Isn't that one of your favorites?
That is my favorite, period. Number 1.
Well, good news. Metal Slug Tactics is coming out this year in the fall.
I'm excited. I don't know if I brought it up on the show, but I at least said to someone out loud in person, if not here, what happened in Metal Slug Tactics?
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, it's not a release date, more of a window.
Yeah, we'll
but
take it.
It's better than nothing, which is where we had been for a while. But
For
moving
sure.
on, these are quickies. Except this one we may have to take some time on. Ars Technica did a very good breakdown of Windows 11 recall, and in that breakdown, they found that users' Windows 11 recall database and screenshots may be accessed with another account. This is something that Satya Nadella said 2 weeks ago was not possible because they were storing all of it on the chip, right? And that's why they had to use these new chips. Well, within a week, ours and several other researchers in the IT security space have confirmed that Windows is literally taking screenshots and storing them in a place that's encrypted, but can be accessed by like everyone has an administrator account on their computer.
Sure.
You could log in, like, I don't know, there's Joe Stasio's Windows PC. You're logged in as Joe. You can log out, come in as administrator, and see all of your recall. Everything you've done on your computer is right there. So this is a nightmare, and it's showing that Microsoft, this is your cash cow, Windows, right? They have 85% market share. Why are you experimenting with your cash cow? And we see it with Google too. They're experimenting with search. That's their cash flow. That's their cash cow. What are you guys doing? Anyway, this is why I'm going to get a Mac next year.
Join
God,
us.
I hope Apple doesn't implement something similar and stupid. I don't think they would.
I don't see that.
Yeah,
Like,
this doesn't. And also, like, what's the point? Like, is this really going to help me if Microsoft screenshots everything I do?
No. I can tell you right now, no. And I think many other people could tell you no.
And this
It will
is
not
just
help you.
kind of an aside, but Joe, did you see the new terms of service for Adobe's Creative Cloud?
No.
Sorry to bring it up, but Adobe now is requiring. They're saying that they're going to have access to your data. Like anything you do inside the Creative Suite, they're going to have access to.
So like let's say I work for Nintendo and I'm using Photoshop to work on marketing materials for an unreleased Mario game. Adobe can't own that.
They don't own it, but this is how they phrase it. Clarified that we may access your content through both automated and manual methods, such as for content review. And then this gentleman, Sam Santala, posted a thread on Twitter. So here's the really funny thing. This is a dialog box that pops up. I can't use Photoshop unless I'm okay with you having full access to anything I create with, including NDA work. That's kind of your point. Also hilarious, I can't even get a hold of your support chat to question this unless I agree to the terms beforehand. I can't even uninstall Photoshop without agreeing to these terms.
Oh, no.
And you also have to agree to the terms if you want to sign in and cancel your subscription.
Really?
So you can't say no.
I guess you could like use like Rocket Money and cancel your subscription.
Yeah, something like that.
Huh.
And content, their definition of content means any text, information, communication, material, such as audio files, video files, electronic documents, images that you upload, import into, embed for use by, or create using the Adobe services and software. So that's like everything.
Right.
But also like, if you're working in an environment where the stuff is under embargo, is Adobe going to break embargo for us now? Like, it opens the door. Like, I don't know if you saw that story that there's a rumor that there's a leaker of Nintendo information and gaming news in general inside of YouTube because they're able to access private videos, and then they are apparently being paid money.
Right.
So it's like, is Adobe going to be another leak farm?
Yeah, I mean,
this
probably.
is stupid. What are we doing? I guess my point is like, what are these tech companies doing? They're ruining their existing products in the name of AI now, and it's stupid. It's not, you're pissing off your users, and it's just obviously evil. Like, it's not, it's like, someone said it's like cartoon villain levels of evil by Adobe here. Because I'm talking about the inability to cancel your subscription without agreeing to this. It's absurd.
Now, it is sort of like they're historically like this. So that's the one thing where this Joe, is like very much their character.
I read it. I read it it was 2 days ago. I got served it in Premiere. And what am I going to do? Say no? And then I don't have Adobe Premiere the week of Summer Game Fest? Like, sure. It's the tool that I use to edit video. So yeah, I think they have us right where they want us kind of thing. And I wanted to point it out. That wasn't in our rundown, but it's just something I saw last night. And I know you work with Adobe Creative Suite a lot.
Less and less, thankfully, but yes.
I'm just saying it's been a part of your career.
Absolutely,
so
yes.
You understand. Yes. You have a long track record of being abused by Adobe, so you're not that
yes,
surprised.
And if anything, I have actively over the years tried to find alternatives, and in some cases succeeded, and in other cases have
You
not.
really have. You're like an innovator in that, like finding ways to not use Adobe.
Thank you very much.
You're like, you know what? Let's not use Audition. Let's use Audacity. That's a good example.
That's right.
Because honestly, it's easier to use.
That's it.
So we got one last quickie. This one, it's been a few weeks, I think, since we mentioned this guy on the podcast. But Elon Musk, there's a report out there that he shifted AI chip shipments from Tesla to XAI, which is part of Twitter, right? His Twitter artificial intelligence company.
Okay.
This came out of internal emails at NVIDIA obtained by CNBC, reveal that Elon Musk told the tech company to reroute AI shipments from Tesla to his new venture XAI. This is ridiculous because he said even on the most recent conference call that they had ordered a tremendous amount of chips. I'm talking about Tesla's conference call, that they had ordered a bunch of chips and that they would be using them to train their full self-driving computer. And now literally 2 months later, or a month later, this news comes out that when he was saying that, he was actually telling NVIDIA had already told them to not deliver those chips to Tesla. So at the very least, he lied to shareholders. And at the worst, what CEO would keep his job if they did this? Like, this is blatant. You're clearly doing something, and it shows you something else that's wrong with this man. He is now sacrificing Tesla for X, right? And like, you look at what's happened to the share price of Tesla since he acquired X. It's down over 50%. And he's all mad about his stock-based compensation that's up for a vote right now because he wants his $56 billion compensation package. And if he doesn't get it, he's going to be a little crybaby about it. So if your whole thing, he said this on the conference call for Tesla, the long-term value of Tesla is directly related to their ability to ship full self-driving, not supervised full self-driving, proper full self-driving. Well, how are you going to do that when you don't have those AI chips that were going to be a huge part of your training this year? So I hate how two-faced he is. And it's just an example of it. And it's an example of how he's not just two-faced when it comes to politics. He's actively hurting Tesla investors and employees by doing this. Or maybe he's showing us that Tesla's not even close to solving FSD. So he's going to train his stupid Grok AI chatbot instead. So it's just, I don't know. What do you guys think?
To hell with it.
It's just annoying. This guy's just annoying at this point. But it's also, I am a Tesla shareholder and I am pissed off. And I am starting to think, I think Tesla would be better without Elon Musk.
Is that a new feeling?
No, but I'm just saying it out loud.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think Tesla would be better without Elon Musk. And maybe 10 years ago that wasn't the case, but now it is.
Sure.
And this is a perfect example of it.
He's infuriating to me. I don't know if I honestly can't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast before, because I think we've probably talked about him before, but he's actually spearheaded, at least with initiatives, some very cool technological advancements in the world. And yet he's the hardest guy to cheer for at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it's maddening to me. It's like some of the things that he's done with some of his companies, like, I mean, are electric vehicles where they are today without him?
No.
Right. So like, that's a positive, but at the same, I can't stand him. Like, it's just like, all he has to do is not be a terrible person and everyone would cheer for him. You know what I mean? And his companies.
Like, look, back before Tesla was this brand that everyone knows, Tesla was the underdog and people did cheer for him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking 10, 15 years ago. It's this post-X Elon, the guy who fumbled Grimes. It's that guy. He sucks. And he needs to go. At this point, I don't think he helps Tesla. He's the one who pushed Cybertruck. He's the one who's doing this now. He's the one who has allowed the Fremont factory to be so damn racist that they had to settle with someone where they were spray painting the N-word in bathrooms and harassing him. Yeah, I think he's created a terrible culture. And what's super important in automobiles is the value of your brand. And the value of your brand is so attached to your CEO when you're so publicly facing, right? He's just so oblivious to these things. But I think he has destroyed the Tesla brand. It's not what it used to be. It's not an aspirational brand anymore. At least to the people who would buy electric vehicles who tend to be more liberal.
If you lined up all of Tesla's vehicles that it's ever made as a company, and you told somebody who had no idea, pick the one that Tesla didn't make, 100 times out of 100, they'd pick Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, there's no way they made that. Yeah, exactly.
It sticks out. It's stupid. And it's proving to not be successful from a financial standpoint either. But yeah, anyway, these are quickies. But I just, this is something that a good board of directors would fire a CEO over. But that's not what Tesla has. Tesla has a board of directors that's full of yes men and yes women for Elon. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm sure he'll do something else stupid next week. And then the last quickie. This is pretty wild, man. I wish John was here to talk about this because we kind of mentioned it earlier this year that Yakuza would be an interesting gaming adaptation.
Yeah.
So live action Like a Dragon Yakuza series is coming to Amazon Prime Video, and it's going to be in October of this year.
Coming soon.
It's exciting.
It's interesting how the Fallout show had a lot of wind up.
Yeah,
at least comparatively.
Yeah, several years. Yeah,
and this is 5 months.
Well, Sega, they tend to work a little quicker with this stuff. You think about how many Sonic movies we've had already. And then we also had the Knuckles mini series, right? So I think Sega is like, we got to make money and make hay while the sun shines kind of thing, I think is the attitude. But yeah, I'd be curious like who people want to see casted for this. I think that's going to be hugely important. But I'm excited. I think this is the kind of series that would lend well to being this is going to be a 6-episode adaptation too. So it I guess is limited. It's not like a long-standing TV show.
Oh, okay. Thing. That's cool.
But yeah, that makes me more likely to watch it. But yeah, I think something like this really is going to depend on who plays who. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's cool.
Same.
I think it's safe to say that we are now in the video game era for Hollywood. Like we are deep in it now, where it's not for a long time, especially in the 90s and 80s, if a video game was being adapted to film, it was going to suck. Now it's like film and TV. We're getting good movies, and
sure.
The Last of Us was great on HBO, right? Like, so there's I think there's now like there's good. A lot. Yeah. There's a lot of, I guess, just a stronger track record of adaptations than we've seen in the past. And I think that means that the content producers are going to take more chances on video game IP, and video game IP holders are going to start taking more chances on seeing if their stuff can go. Because we have like a Tomb Raider show coming. Yeah, and it really does seem like we're watching this kind of pop off between Netflix and Amazon and Apple to a lesser extent. But yeah, it's good.
It's great.
And that's it for the quickies. We did it.
Wow.
Okay, so we got to talk about GameStop. This is the longie today. We're not going to talk about anything else.
Educate us.
Okay. We're recording GameStop. We're not recording GameStop. We're recording Shack together on Thursday, as we tend to. And it's Thursday, June 6th, right?
Yep.
GameStop stock is up 47% on the day right now, on 168 million shares traded. There are only like 350 million shares of GameStop in the world. So we're talking about more than a third of this company has traded today. Just some other interesting data points. This stock was $10.01 on Friday, April 26th. $10. It's currently at $47. So it's up over 300% in about a month and a half. So that's all crazy. We mentioned a few weeks ago how the Roaring Kitty came back to Twitter, and we didn't know why he was back, but he was back and he was posting dank memes, right? That's kind of where we left off on this story. So Sunday night, just this week, Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, also on Reddit, he is known by user Deep Fucking Value. He posted to Reddit. He didn't post to Wall Street Bets, though. He posted to r/Superstonk, which is a subreddit dedicated to GameStop. Previously, in 2021, his last final YOLO update was posted to Wall Street Bets. So I thought that was interesting. Shout out to Superstonk. They have been the place to go for conversation about GameStop on Reddit. So congratulations to them. They hit over 1 million subs this week. So Keith Gill discloses his position. He owns 5 million shares of GameStop. That's a lot.
That's quite a bit, sure.
The last we saw from him was in 2021. He owned 200,000 shares, but split adjusted because it did a 4-for-1 stock split dividend. He should have, if all things being equal, if he did nothing from April 2021 to now, he would have had 800,000 shares. And his portfolio at the time of the last YOLO update was valued at $34 million. Now, he went from $50,000 to $34 million in about a year and a half. That was amazing, right? So get this. In the last 3 years, he somehow has grown his portfolio to $210 million. Actually, even higher now. At the time of this recording, it's probably close to $500 million. Keith Gill may end up being a billionaire when this whole story is done. So that was his most recent chess move, was posting the YOLO update on Sunday, right? Markets are not open on Sunday. So he posted on Sunday. Stock goes up to the moon on Monday. It got halted, did all sorts of stuff, which, by the way, guess what else happened on Monday morning at the same time that GameStop stock was ripping higher? The New York Stock Exchange had a glitch, right? Where multiple stocks tanked. You know Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company?
Mm-hmm.
The stock crashed 99%. It fell from, and this is like one of the highest priced stocks in the market on a share price basis. It was like over $600,000 down to $185.
Wow.
And they said it was a glitch. And they voided a bunch of trades that were made, I guess, around it. So they're still investigating what happened there. And I try not to sound like a tinfoil hatter or anything, but I just think it's important to note that GameStop is listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So what a better way to cause a glitch in this story. What a way to halt the stock by breaking the entire market. So I don't know what happened on Monday. They haven't told us what happened on Monday yet, but this is just another thing that happened I thought was interesting this week. And then Monday evening or Monday afternoon, right as the market is closing, Wall Street Journal floats out this story. And I want to focus on this. E-Trade is a broker-dealer owned by Morgan Stanley, is reportedly mulling booting GameStop investor Keith Roaring Kitty Gill. And they claim that it's because of market manipulation. They're worried that he's manipulating the market. That's ridiculous. That's absurd.
Insofar as that he's like tweeting, is that what that means?
Yes. They're claiming that his tweets and his YOLO updates are market manipulation.
Well, they're just tweets. They're tweets.
Yes.
I don't understand how you can have a different opinion than that.
And the SEC chair 3 years ago defended individuals' rights to promote their stock positions on Reddit. Like, he said it's fine to do this. And then he went on CNBC this week and said, well, if you're doing it and there's some sort of malice behind it, then it's not okay.
What?
That they're trying to imply that Keith Gill is the villain here. And my thesis here is that maybe there's no heroes in the GameStop story, right? It may just be a series of bad people. But this guy, Keith Gill, is an agent of chaos, and I'm here for it. He has inspired probably millions of people at this point to learn about investing and to take their financial future into their own hand.
Sure.
And I think it's really interesting what he's doing. His YouTube channel is still live, and there is a scheduled stream for June 7th, tomorrow. So this would be the first time we'll hear from him since he testified in front of he talked after that. The last time we heard from him was April of 2021. So this is his first stream in over 3 years. And he was doing these like at least once a week in 2020 and 2021, the first part. So it's going to be interesting to hear from him. And I want him to, I just want to know how he did it, man. Cause like there's a lot of things that I kind of glossed over there. But the thing that I find most interesting, and the thing I'm going to ask you guys, cause maybe I'm just curious what you guys think. How did his portfolio go from 34 million to 210 million? He had to have done something.
Deep fucking value.
He has, what my takeaway is we're dealing with the greatest trader of all time. Like we are witnessing like a Buffett being born here. And if he makes himself a billionaire out of this, power to the players. But so the other side of this is, he has 5 million shares. That is 4.2 million more shares than he would have, all things being equal to his last update. But then the other thing is he owns 120,000 of the June 21st, 2024 $20 call option. The stock is currently at $46. He bought those calls for $5.67. They're currently worth $25. So he's made like close to $300 million off of these options. So at the core of this, there's an argument about him pumping and dumping. For a stock pump and dump to actually be real, you have to dump. You have to sell. And there's no indication that he's sold. If anything, he's more long than he's ever been. So why would we attack him? That's my question. It's like, in this world, why is he the villain, according to mainstream media? Why is he the bad guy here?
Well, because he figured it out.
Because he's breaking the system?
Yeah.
Good. I'm all for it. And yeah, I own GameStop, and I own call options in GameStop too. But I'm here for it. Because like, this is what the regulators get from not letting us do this in 2021, when the broker dealers and the market makers and the pay for order flow companies, when they all colluded to turn off the buy button on January 28th, 2021, they reaped this moment. They literally planted the seed for us to come back years later with a vengeance. Because anyone who owns GameStop at this point, we're not in it to go to 46. We're in it to go to like 3,000. We want to break the entire financial system. We want multiple short hedge funds to go under. Still, that's still the mission. Never stopped. So as just someone who's been long the stock the whole time, I've traded around it. I think it's still the most fascinating story in the stock market. And a lot of people like to glaze over it and just call it a meme stock. Last thing I'll say about this, and if you look at the news that I just said, you notice I've only talked about one stock. I know I mentioned Berkshire Hathaway, but like regarding Keith Gill, he has two positions. He owns GameStop common stock and he owns GameStop call options. So why is it that every mainstream media outlet is grouping it together with AMC and calling it a meme stock? It's not. This is obviously a unique situation caused by a stock being shorted over 100%. And now here we are years later, and the shorts are still fucked. Because now GameStop has $2 billion of cash and no long-term debt. At this point, GameStop could just buy a better company and pivot to being whatever that company is. They have that much money. And they have a shareholder base that will tolerate secondary offerings because we know the more money they have on the balance sheet, the less likely they are to go bankrupt, which is the short thesis, is that GameStop will go to zero, right? And we're at 46 right now in after hours trading. So I think it's fascinating. There's several dates to pay attention to coming up. GameStop earnings is on June 11th. GameStop shareholder meeting is on June 13th. And Keith Gill's options expire on June 21st. But wait, what if I told you guys there's an even weirder story in this GameStop story? Would you believe me?
Yes.
Do you remember Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, the Wu-Tang album?
Yeah, by name. I don't know much more than that.
It's a one-of-a-kind CD that Martin Shkreli bought for $2 million and then had to forfeit it to the U.S. government when he was bankrupt. So the U.S. Department of Justice owned Once Upon a Time in Shaolin.
Okay.
A crypto company. You know what DAOs are? Do you know what DAO means?
No.
I have to Google that shit. It stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So this decentralized autonomous organization called Pleasr, Pleasr, DAO, they bought the Wu-Tang album for $4 million years ago. Now, what the hell does this have to do with GameStop? Good question. Pleasr tweeted out a few days ago that they intend to distribute the album to GameStop shareholders. And there's been this long-standing rumor that GameStop was going to issue a special dividend to shareholders that would be an NFT or something. So this might be that. So they're using this platform called Plaid that is able to authenticate that you're a GameStop shareholder. And then at some point in the future, the rumor is that this is going to be announced at the shareholder meeting on June 13th, that we're going to be given special access to the album.
Okay.
I know this sounds crazy, but here's why I think it's really interesting. You know what shorts don't own? They don't own Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. So when a dividend is declared, the shorts have to pay that dividend. But if you're short the stock and they're issuing a dividend that you can't recreate, what do you do? We're about to find out. I think this is insane.
Okay.
I've been trying to vet this story for 3 years. I first heard about this in like summer of 2021. And there's this picture that it shows everyone at Pleasr DAO. And there's one person in the picture, they're wearing a hoodie over their head and they're facing away. So you're looking at their back. Everyone thinks that person is the CEO of GameStop, Ryan Cohen. So we'll see. He's been awfully quiet during this whole Roaring Kitty return. But there is a chance that the Wu-Tang album is going to be issued as a special dividend to GameStop shareholders. And that sounds like the ramblings of a psychotic person. But I
hope you're right.
Look, this is not my investment thesis. This is just, I'm reporting what I have seen on the internet from Pleasr DAO and countless rumors about this for years. If this happens, here's a question for you guys. If we were in a simulation, would you guys tell me? Would you even be able to?
Well, I wouldn't be able to, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If this is real, like, come on. This sounds insane. But I guess if this does happen, if I were short this company, I would cover, because we don't know what the value of this is going to be assigned, right? Because it was bought for $4 million. But how much is it worth as a distribution to GameStop shareholders, right? Is it going to be $4 million or is it going to be a fraction of that? Well, what's the economic benefit that I have to recognize, right?
It'll be a fraction.
If that's the case, though, they still, as shorts, have to deliver something that they don't own.
My guess is it would be drilled down to what the value of an actual album is today. and just sort of like some sort of average of that. So I
So
don't know.
$15 a share?
Yeah, which to your point is still bad.
Massive. That's like 30% of the share price.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is that I have never seen a group of shorts more fucked than this group of short sellers. And I'm here for it.
Logical Bill wants to say that this will all blow over and nothing wild will happen, but Chaos Bill kind of hopes that something absolutely bonkers happens.
I'm going into the shareholder meeting with very little expectation of anything, but Pleaser DAO tweeted on June 3rd, because the agreement to to making the album publicly available that everyone has agreed to who has bought it is that you won't release the album publicly until the year 2103. That was the requirement from Wu-Tang when they sold it to Shkreli, and then that covenant carried forward to the Department of Justice, and now Pleaser DAO.
Right.
So, like, why would Pleaser DAO announce this 10 days before the shareholder meeting? I don't know, but it's just like, I don't know what to say, man. Like, I know it sounds crazy, and that's the reason why I haven't reported on it at Shacknews, but it's starting to seem like it might be actually happening.
Part of me thinks that this is all third-party company doing something crazy, and that GameStop has nothing to do with it, and probably doesn't appreciate this whatsoever.
But they would have come out and said something.
I don't know. Their conference, and you know GameStop better than I do. I don't know them at all by comparison, but they
are in a quiet period right now where they're not allowed to comment. No, so I understand, because they're right before the earnings report and right before the shareholder meeting. And while you're right, they're not very communicative at the earnings reports. They don't even do conference calls. They are communicative at the shareholder meeting, which is 2 days later. And June 13th, that's a date that Pleaser DAO tweeted. Just the date. They tweeted the date by itself. So you're right, Joe, in that this could very well just be crypto grifters trying to attach to the popular thing right now. But this has been something that has been going on behind the scenes for like 3 years. Also, Method Man. You know Method Man?
He's the best. Yeah, sure.
From Wu-Tang Clan, right?
Yep.
He tweeted out on June 2nd, respectfully, GME. But I don't know. I don't know what to think.
We need that.
If that happens, I'm fairly certain we're in a simulation, you guys, because I don't get this. This is all stupid.
We need that meme, and forgive me because I never watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but what's the one where the dude has the cigarette and he's like pointing at this like planning board, this whiteboard of like conspiracy theories? Like,
that's Charlie from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Pepe Sylvia. Yeah.
It definitely feels like one of those.
Pepe. I got boxes full of Pepe. For real. I do. But it's not I don't know. I would put it at like maybe a 30% chance of happening or 20% chance of happening.
Something's happening. Just what?
I don't know. But also, like, we're going to find out something from Keith Gill tomorrow. And I think it's interesting that he's being lambasted about, he shouldn't be posting these things. He's manipulating the market. Jim Cramer comes on TV every day and touts his book. That's all he does. Everyone. It's like a parade of people It's like a parade of people on Wall Street that just are all shilling. Every single one on that channel just comes there to talk their book. And that's okay. And I pointed out to some people, we had a thread about this in Chatty this weekend. You know, Keith Gill, right? He has like over 1 million followers on Twitter. Fine. 1.4 million followers. Sure, that's a lot of people. But like CNBC, they have 5.2 million. And, you know, they're also a live television network that's broadcast all throughout the world, internationally. What's more influential? A guy posting to Reddit or being given this giant platform that is CNBC? Leaving out their website, which does a lot of traffic too, I'm sure. It's just this idea that Wall Street can get away with this, but the minute an individual tries to do something, he's a crook. It's like, no. You're all crooks, and you're just mad that we stole your playbook. You're mad at us. And they're doing their best. You'll see it. To tell you that GameStop is a scam, that company is worthless, or it's going bankrupt. But I'm here to tell you their balance sheet has never been stronger. And I've been following this company since the mid-2000s. So yeah, it's a fascinating time. It's really tough to sift through the bullshit right now, but I'm still long, and yeah, I think it's gonna be funny when I fund multiple years of Shacknews off of these games. But
Love
yeah,
that.
it's just I had this the hard drive, that website.
Sure.
Yes.
They were selling. I don't know. I think they ultimately did sell. And I told them that the stock, if GameStop got to 950 a share, that I would buy it. So split adjusted now, that's 237.5 a share. But at this point, I don't think I would buy the hard drive anymore. But I told them that in 2021 when they were trying to get me to buy it, because they were asking for a lot, and I was like, yeah, it was probably not the, buying websites in 2021 or 2022 or 3 or 4, probably not the best investment idea.
No.
Especially the amount of risk involved with a satirical website. So, yeah, I always thought that was interesting. But yeah, there's I guess the TLD, W, and R here is just weird stuff is happening at GameStop right now. And I don't think it's all a coincidence, but we'll just have to see. And we'll be here to report it. We are probably, we're the least biased GameStop news outlet. Like, I may own the stock, but if they do something stupid, I'm going to say it's stupid. But I do think that this is an innovative way to spark a short squeeze if they actually do this. But yeah, we'll have to stay tuned. But yeah, the stock is currently sitting above 45 a share. This was the highest close we've seen for GameStop since May 14th, which was that day where the stock got halted many times. So yeah, interesting times for sure.
Wow.
And yeah, I still own the stock. So if anyone's wondering, I'm not going to recommend buying it here, but I already own it and I didn't sell it because I don't think it's over yet. Do you remember that interview with Kobe where he was like, they were up 2-0 in the finals or something? And he was like, job's not finished.
Yep.
That's my attitude right now with GameStop. It's like, I know what I think is going to happen. And until that happens, I'm going to stick around the stock. Because the biggest mistakes I've made in my investing career has been ignoring my original investment thesis. If the thesis is still playing out, let it play out. And I think that's what we're seeing here. So it's exciting. And congratulations to anyone who was long for the last 3-4 years. Because you were called an idiot and made fun of for years. And now you're on the other side. So that'll do it. We did it. We got through all the story time. Oh my God. That was a lot. It's a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I know. So yeah, we do have some community notes here. We got a few posts from the Shacknews community, which you can join by heading over to shacknews.com/chatty or emailing somebody somewhere. I don't know. You can email me, I guess. We just should set up like a list or something for something at Shacknews. Anyway. So we have 2 chatty posts. I believe one of them, I don't know. Did you just screenshot the post of the moment here?
Well, the second one is the post of the moment.
Yeah. What did the rest say?
Oh, I just like that sentiment. I don't know what it's about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you just want to point out that Trelane said, I could Google this, but it's more fun to ask on the Shack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like AI, but like real people. It's like
you might actually get a better answer. You
do. I've said this for a really long time. I think the Chatty is a great place to ask questions. Because it's not like an Ask Jeeves or a Quora where you ask a question and here's existing answers. You're getting real-time answers. So there may be updates to whatever question you're asking that are now more useful in present day than if you go to the internet for that information. So I think there is something to be said about the utility of Chatty when it comes to asking questions.
Yeah, like
it's also really good. Sorry, go ahead, Bill.
I was going to say, like, if you have like some weird PC issue, like, oh, my monitor's not working with, this graphics card, it's like, go to Chatty, and, it might take like 18 hours of back and forth, but like, you're going to get that figured out. I've
seen Greg do that multiple times successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of things that the Chatty does right that the internet gets wrong. We don't disincentivize the sharing of hyperlinks. Every other platform does now. So it's a place where you can share links, which kind of leads us on to this other community note from Mason. McDonald's, this headline's kind of weird. McDonald's loses its trademark suit against an Irish chain Supermac over their use of the word Big Mac for a chicken sandwich. EU court says that McDonald's failed to prove how it used the same name for their own chicken sandwiches. Yeah, because the Big Mac in America or at McDonald's is a hamburger, and the chicken sandwich, I believe, is just called the McChicken.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, good for Super Mac. Apparently that's like a chain, a fast food chain over there in Ireland. But yeah, also McDonald's has appropriated Irish culture for enough time.
Shamrock shakes.
Yeah, God, dude, there are two seasonal things at McDonald's that I think are just OP: the McRib and the Shamrock Shake. Like, Shamrock Shake is so good; it has no business being that good.
Is it just mint flavor?
No, there's like some. Oh, let me see. What is in the Shamrock Shake?
I don't know if you want to Google that.
I do. I have no fear. What is the Shamrock Shake made of?
Mint. It says mint.
Just mint? Mint ice cream?
If Google tells you to put
they
glue
changed
in
it. This is important. So their Shamrock Shake was introduced in 1970. Initially, the shake was lemon lime flavored with vanilla ice cream, lemon and lime sherbet, and vanilla syrup. By 1973, the shake was merely a green colored vanilla shake, eliminating the lime and lemon sherbet. It is now mint flavored. So there's been 3 different Shamrock Shakes.
That's silly.
I know. It's ridiculous. I'm sure it just comes down to sourcing whatever ingredients they have.
Yeah, but people are buying the color. They know that.
I don't think so, man. There's that taste. There's a taste to it. It tastes good.
Well, I'm sure it tastes good. I just mean, like, when it's back on the menu, you are buying the green shake first and foremost.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's true. Yeah.
I missed it this year. I didn't have one.
I haven't had one in years. I don't eat fast food anymore, except for Swenson's occasionally. Swenson's has not. I guess they do have a mint. They had a mint chocolate chip ice cream shake earlier this year. I think around the same time. But I think Swenson's, this local retail or local fast food joint, they're really innovators in the milkshake game. But yeah, 2 solid threads.
Wow.
So yeah, how about that? We did it. You love to see it. So those are our community notes. I did see the founder of Dogecoin got community noted the other day. He was pretty upset about that. But yeah, that's it. I didn't do my F-Zero rivals. There are a few, but
you keep forgetting.
I know. What boils down to is that I'm so good at that game now, I just don't even respect my rivals.
Hubris. Watch it.
I am. I'm gonna tell you, man. Like, some of the mistakes I'm making are definitely hubris now, as opposed to being like overly cautious. Now I'm being overly aggressive. It's a balance. That game is really about finding like a flow state, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, that'll do it. We did it. That's going to do it for today's show. Subscribe on your podcast app and facility of choice, and tune in every Friday for more Shack Together. If you made it this far, you like us, right? You clearly like listening to us talk about random things. So give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe to the podcast, share it. Go on the internet and be like, hey, I saw this on Shacknews and it was cool.
Tell your mom.
Also, one last shout out. Romsteady over on the Shack, longtime supporter of our Shacknews Extended Podcast universe, or the SIPU as the kids call it. He placed like top 35 out of 2,500 people at the World Series of Poker this week. So shout out to Rom for an awesome showing. And he was rocking a Shacknews hoodie when he did it.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yep. That'll do it for the show. This is where we all wave at the camera that's not on.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
It's, we were going to talk Destiny 2, and I know Sam Chandler is deep in the Destiny 2 minds right now, so didn't want to drag him out of there, but we wanted to give you an opportunity to celebrate. This is a huge week for our site and a huge week for the Destiny 2 community, so it's exciting. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening, everybody. That'll do it. We did it. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Shack Together is a Shacknews production.
Shack Together is a Shacknews production.
Shack Together is a Shacknews production.
Shacknews is a multimedia company consisting of a variety of entertainment properties, including Shacknews.com, video game and cutting-edge technology coverage with evergreen video, guide, and long-read content, providing readers and viewers with the latest reviews, previews, interviews, and news. Shacknews content is readable and viewable at shacknews.com, Facebook, YouTube at Shacknews, Shacknews Interviews, and Shacknews VODs, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Shacknews Media, Twitch, and more. But that's not all. You can play Bubbletron, our first video game. Combine 3 ideas, hit the market, and get your money hat. Bubbletron is a daily game in the style of Wordle where players can launch a company and see its valuation instantly. Hit that high score and brag to your friends. Visit Bubbletron.com to play. There is no download required, no signups required, but if you are into app downloads, we have the cutest one on the planet. It's called Shack Pets, the ultimate battle for cuteness. Swipe your pets to victory on iOS and Android in this Tinder-like app for pets. Shacknews is proud to present a variety of micro products, all available for free at shacknews.com. Cortex is a publishing platform available to all of our users. Shouts is a Twitter replacement in a time where Twitter really needs replacing. And Reader, an RSS reader that won't get shut down by Google anytime soon. You can import YouTube, subreddits, all sorts of cool stuff, even podcast feeds. And lastly, all of our products are completely free to use and play, so if you're a fan of what we're doing and want to support the Shacknews ecosystem, head over to shacknews.com/Mercury. Mercury offers subscribers access to exclusive Shacknews swag like hoodies and VIP access to our long reads in downloadable format. It's a great way to support us. There's different tiers, and you get a lightning bolt next to your name.